Call this meeting to order pursuant to chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Notice hereby given that on the 24th day of June 2026, the Board of Directors of the ECUD of Ector County will hold a special board meeting at 2:30 in the district boardroom located at 1039 North Moss Avenue, Odessa, Texas, 79763. Public comment. John, do you want to start? Or you want to let Shirley? All right, John Kelly.
The board president called a special meeting because of possible lack of quorum for the July meeting before the July meeting was convened. The first item on the agenda was code of conduct policy presentation. While not illegal, this is extremely deceiving, non-transparent, and unethical in my opinion. This goes against Robert's Rules of Order, and it may or may not violate Toma depending on how it is worded. What I feel is going on are some ex parte discussions. Although I may not be able to prove they're going on, they can't prove they are not. All one has to do is observe the goings and comings of certain individuals, say after a heated board meeting, plus the fact that 3 days, 3 days after the June board meeting, the board member told me the board was going to have meetings about a code of conduct. And that makes me a little suspicious that there are ex parte discussions happening. If you don't know what ex parte is, that's walking the corners. We were voted onto this board by 70% of my constituents, and that's who I represent. And from what my and your constituents have told me, they feel this board, the new board, has not done what the constituents told us we would do, or what we were told we would do if elected. They feel this board is no better than the old board. This board needs to wake up and start doing what was promised to your constituents. Thank you.
Ms. Shirley Kelly.
Terry, I'm not gonna stand. It seems like this, let's see, I would have thought this would have been better to have been done in an executive session. But since we're not doing it, it would be nice to at least make sure that everything, every word is put in the minutes, and that way, people can read it and know exactly what was said. And another thing is if the volume, we're still, and I don't know, I hadn't been in calls this month, but I got calls last month about the volume. And I think John worked on it last month. So that may have been corrected, but that's all I've got to say.
Okay, thank you for your comment. There we go. Thank you. All right. Presentation on conduct policy. Ms. Nicole Pierce, legal counsel.
Yes, so, just so everyone will understand, I had just requested this item for the next board meeting, and when I became aware that we would have a special meeting to discuss rescheduling of the July meeting, I just asked Debbie to put it on for the special meeting. If the board so chooses, they can table this and we can put it on for the July meeting. It makes no difference to me. So I mean, this kind of came up, we had talked about social media policy at last month's meeting. Mr. Kelly was actually here to discuss, should we have a board meeting on this policy? With how kind of things ended at that last meeting, that's why I thought, let's put it on for the board's consideration. Again, it makes no difference to me if the board wants to discuss it for today's meeting or for the regular July board meeting. If the board would like to discuss it now, I'm happy to go over the draft policy that I prepared. I believe everybody should have had a chance to review this in advance of this meeting. Again, if the board needs more time, we can certainly hold on this in place for consideration and discussion and any action items for your July regular board meeting.
I have no problem with having it now. I don't hear anybody speaking out to want to stop it, so.
We haven't asked for discussion yet. Wait for somebody to ask for discussion.
Okay, but is there any discussion?
I got a few things I'd like to. find out about it if we're gonna do it. I personally think this is the wrong time to do it, Nicole. If they run the Robert's Rules of Order, everything I've read said that, the meeting can only be for what it was called for, and it was called for picking a day in July because of possible lack of quorum.
Well, let me stop you real quick right there. So, you can discuss any item that's put on the agenda.
You can what?
So we had,
She said you can discuss. Okay, can you repeat that? He didn't hear you.
yes, so the board can discuss any item that's on the meeting agenda. And so again, like I noted, when Ms. Hicks reached out to me to confirm my availability for a special meeting, I noted that I was available for today for any special meeting, and I had requested for this agenda item to be placed. So what happens is the board calls for a special meeting, but as part of that special meeting agenda, you can put as many agenda items as you wish on the agenda. So this is a proper agenda item. It has been properly posted for the required 3 business days. So this is in accordance with your procedures and Robert's Rules of Order and the public meeting requirements.
Well, when we got our email telling us that we was gonna have a call special meeting, and the reason for the meeting was gonna be, to have a different date of our July meeting because of the possible lack of quorum. Nothing was mentioned about this agenda item. So in my opinion, and what the rules of order say, they can't do this legally. It's not correct to do it this way. I don't have a problem with postponing it till next month. That's fine. And two, with the two attachments that were late, that's really not much time, to go over the two attachments that you sent us. And I personally think we ought to table it till next month.
So again, I believe what it takes, and I don't know if she emailed or called all of y'all to check, for her to call and say, hey, we need to hold a special meeting because I think there's going to be a quorum issue for the July meeting. That's to check for everybody's availability to confirm you have a quorum for any special meeting. But as I had stated, once we say, yes, we have enough people to have a special meeting on X date, then the next step is you set your meeting agenda. And you can have a meeting agenda for one item or multiple items. And so, like I said, in the email correspondence that I received checking for my confirmation of my availability, I said that item that I emailed you about, go ahead and put it on for this special meeting because we're meeting. So again, as long as the items are on the meeting agenda and it was properly posted and noted to the public, it is not in violation of Robert's Rules of Order. I believe she was just calling to check on everybody's availability and confirming that we would have quorum for any special meeting.
Okay.
So again, it's up to the board to discuss if we want to discuss this or if we want to hold it till the July meeting. But I have sent this agenda item in advance of any knowledge of special meeting or anything.
Okay.
I just asked for it to be placed on the next meeting agenda.
Another question I have, and to whoever can answer it, but who has the authority to do this? I mean, we did this last month with the social media, and now we're doing it again with code of conduct. Who has the authority to call you and ask you to draw up these resolutions? Is it Troy, the president? Is it our general manager? Is it the board, or just who's got the say so on that?
So it's a little bit of both. I mean, I represent the entire 5-person board. So during meetings, when the board gives me action items, the board's giving me those action items, and then I'm tasked with those. And if that's, I need to have the X items completed by next meeting, I have the next meeting. If I need to have something done a week later, I act accordingly. I have to pull the prior meeting minutes, but I think there was one meeting where the board, discussed that for future work for me to do, that it would come from Ms. Hayes. And so in regards to the, social media conduct policy, I became aware of a social media post, and I reached out to Ms. Hayes, and she said, move forward with preparing the policy and submitting it to the board for their consideration. On this meeting conduct policy, it was something that was, you briefly discussed, in the meeting. And again, I requested for this item to be placed on the next board meeting, agenda. And I was instructed, from, Director Walker to prepare the policy for the board's review and consideration.
But there would be no problem. It wasn't an emergency to wait till our July meeting, would it?
There's nothing on my end that, it makes no difference to me when y'all discuss, review, or approve any policy or action item, other than if there's, a set deadline that you'll have to take action by.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the hurry was on this.
Like I said, I think a lot of that stemmed from, the end of the last meeting.
Well,
And, you had also said, if we're gonna have a social media policy, why don't we have a board meeting conduct policy?
no, I didn't say that.
I believe you did, that I noted it.
Not the board meeting. I believe I said ethics. I'm pretty sure it was ethics. If we were taking our minutes correctly, we could go back and look, but we'll have to check the recording. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
personally,
Recording.
I make a motion that we postpone it or table it till next month in July. Thank you, Nicole.
You're welcome.
Hey, Sis, do you have anything to offer?
Yes, I think one of the main reasons for this meeting also was to try to postpone the next meeting for a different date. But some of I brought this up, but some of the issues, some personal issues that I had, that I couldn't make it to the next meeting, have been resolved. So it's up to y'all if you want to leave it the same date or change it for a different date. But also about the conduct of the other or some of the board members. If y'all can conduct yourself professionally, you don't need to be on the board. And to have this discussion in public, the way y'all conduct yourselves, it's embarrassing. And you don't need to be on the board. That's my point of view. Y'all can take the pressure. Y'all can deal with the other people's opinions. You're in the wrong place.
So, hey, Ben, would you feel,
It's your time to say quit, or is your time to behave? It's either or.
so, hey, Ben, would you, are you saying that, you would now still be available for, a July 8th meeting?
Yes,
Okay, hey, Ben, you could still, you now can attend the July 8th meeting if needed?
His volume one way.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you, hey, Ben.
He's
And then would it also be your preference to hold this item for the July 8th meeting so you can be there in public, in person, excuse me?
There is that, I think that's the second question, sorry.
So I wanted to confirm, now you can attend the July 8th normal regular meeting? Okay, And then, would it be your preference as well, as Mr. Kelly, to postpone this and discuss it at the next board meeting in order for everyone to be there in person?
Yes.
Motion, do we get a second?
There's not been a second yet.
Just have the one motion. I'm sorry.
You made a motion, if you made a motion, we need to get a second for that motion. I didn't hear a second.
I did not. And just to confirm, you can participate, but you're not gonna be noted as making any motions or seconds or any votes.
Correct.
So Director Walker, has there been a second?
No,
No,
ma'am.
I can't make a second, right?
No, you cannot.
No, you can just participate. Yeah, you can just participate for discussion purposes.
No, ma'am, I was waiting until y'all were done discussing, and then I was gonna ask if there was any other discussion or if there was a second, but I was trying to allow everyone to have time to say what they had to say.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Any further discussion? Do we have a second to table this item? Motion dies for lack of second.
May I say something?
You sure? No, sir. You can't. I'm sorry. You fill out one of these forms, you can.
Okay, I just asked.
It's the reason we have this because. Okay. Discuss, review, and take any action on the board meeting conduct policy. Has everyone had a chance to? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. So, are we gonna move forward with discussing the conduct policy, or are we gonna?
There, it died for lack of a second, so I believe we have to move on, correct?
She's got two
No.
words.
I thought the motion was to table the discussion.
The motion was to table the discussion. It died for lack of a second. So now we move on with discussing.
I don't think she's through with the presentation.
She needs to go through it.
Okay,
Yes, that was not my understanding was that Mr. Kelly's motion was to table discussing it for this meeting and to push it to the next meeting. And that motion failed, so we could continue discussing it and the board could discuss taking any action on things.
yes, ma'am, you are correct. So,
Okay, I thought we had moved to the July meeting.
no, ma'am, no, ma'am, we haven't moved anywhere.
Okay.
So, do you have anything else to present for this motion? I mean, this agenda item, Miss Nicole, Miss Pierce?
Yes, I'm happy to go over the policy as detailed as the board would like, or I'm happy to answer any questions that the board has, or discuss any comments or possible revisions.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to read the policy? John? Carol? John? Okay, we've all read it. So I would assume if anyone has any questions, this would be a good time to ask you any questions or revisions that you would like to see go on this motion or this agenda item.
Any questions, if y'all have any, sections you'd like, any revisions made, I'm happy to hear any of those.
Nicole?
Yes.
Other than to keep the board in line and trying to keep them being civil, what is the ultimate goal with this and the social media resolutions? Because when you get right down to it, well, social media, we don't even know who's gonna oversee that for one, but there is no, consequences the way they're written. I mean, you can't be, as far as I understand, you can't be kicked off the board. But, and they can't, hinder your speech. So what's the end goal for both of these resolutions as far as the board's concerned?
Well, again,
Besides having a civil board meeting.
yeah, I mean, the social media policies was to make everybody on the board aware that, there's a difference, when you are out there in the public, especially on social media platforms. I always tell my commissioners and directors that, you always have to remember which hat you're wearing. So, if you are on your own personal Facebook page, just expressing your own opinion, that's one thing. But when you are, putting opinions, discussions, and information out there that is, contrary to what was discussed in a board meeting, what if it was possibly confidential, if it was discussed in executive session, those would all be, contrary to how we want the board and as a taxing entity to operate. The social media policy is just to, make the board be aware of, these are the standards. This is what the board is expecting of its directors when they go out and express their thoughts and viewpoints um, out on social media platforms, as a director for ECUD. For the board meeting conduct policy, again, for me, that stems, it definitely, for me, it got, uncomfortable as well at the last board meeting. I was trying to answer and discuss some of your questions, and it just, it just on my end, it felt like you weren't happy with my answers. But again, I think it's been a little heated, even regardless of me. I think it's been heated with, other staff members and consultants in the meeting, towards other directors. And, at that point, I thought a board meeting conduct policy would be in the best interest of the district in order to kind of, again, set the standard for all five of y'all, how we should operate and maintain a level of professionalism when we are, in our board meeting. Um, you know, these are board meetings that typically only happen once a month. Normally, we have business to conduct. We can have that open exchange discussion that is, as y'all as directors, y'all should have questions and, uh, have an open dialogue and have an exchange of ideas. But it's always, we always have to remember that, all of y'all are one vote regardless of your board position. And that, once the vote is done, whether it be a 4-1 vote, a 3-2 vote, whichever it may be, that's the vote. The board collectively makes that vote. And then we have to move on to the next agenda item. We still have business to conduct. We can't stay mad or stay angry in that moment because, we were outvoted or it didn't go our way. And so for me, I feel like having a clear conduct policy that's in black and white for all five board members, they read it, they understand, and they know what to be expected when they walk into a board meeting, when they're dealing with staff and employees and consultants, and that we're all on the same page about maintaining a level of professionalism, a level of respectfulness, that there's a certain, general decorum. Again, if they're public meetings, y'all are, while I know y'all don't have any property tax revenue, y'all are, stewards of, quote, the tax funds. And therefore you do have a duty to, your public and your constituents to always be professional towards all of your fellow board members, your staff, your employees, consultants, et cetera. So for me, that's why I think, that this is a policy that it again applies to all five of y'all. And that it makes it very clear what is to be expected of these five board members when they're sitting there in a board meeting. As far as, violations of this policy, I mean, I do list that out in section, 13. And again, as you mentioned, I mean, there are some limited reasons why a board member can be removed, under the statute. But under this, yes, I mean, there's nobody that's going to police either of these two policies. This is really just setting the standard for what's to be expected as a board member. And then, the hope is that, when, y'all all move on from board, that the next set of board members would have these same policies in place and know what to be expected when they also sit in those chairs and, do the business for, ECUD.
Well, Nicole, let me say this. I didn't have a problem with your answers last month. My anger and my outburst was directed more. I was being rushed with the questions that I was asked, and I didn't feel like I should have been. And personally, and this is just my feeling, this has happened before, and it's pretty irritating. I'm entitled to ask a question, although I will admit there were too many for one meeting, but, that's where my outburst came from. Take it or leave it. It don't matter to me whether anybody believes that or not, but I did not have any questions with your answers.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I accept that. I unfortunately kind of have the disadvantage at today's meeting. I can see you very well. But most meetings, I don't see any of the board members. And so unfortunately, I couldn't see maybe what was going behind the scenes for y'all in person. I only could hear the audio. So from my end, it felt the frustration was directed towards me. And that was just maybe because I couldn't see what was happening actually in the board meeting.
Well, I think it'd be more beneficial if you could see everybody in the boardroom during the meeting.
Yeah, I see the three of y'all and I see a little bit of Daryl. But yes, I too would, I would welcome being able to see the entire board yes for these meetings. So,
Thank you, Nicole.
but that's fair, Mr. Kelly, and thank you for those comments. Does any other board members have any questions, concerns, comments, revisions?
Okay, is there a motion to either pass or deny this presentation of conduct policy?
Make the motion.
Daryl makes a motion.
I could hear you, Daryl.
I'll make the motion to accept.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by John Hendricks. Oh, sorry. Okay, there's been a motion and a motion by Daryl Pondo, a second by John Hendricks to accept this presentation of the conduct policy. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Hey,
Motion passes 3-1.
I didn't know who takes this in the meeting, but I will, let her know that I'll update that, second page and I'll get that to her, briefly for signature.
Thank
You don't have to wait till, did you want me to update, the signature for a second board member to take it on there?
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
You want me to put Daryl or
It doesn't matter. Yeah, put Daryl since he's Director Pondo, since he's the vice president. Please.
yes, excuse me.
Thank you.
one more question, Nicole. Since the general manager is the one that's able to request this, would it not be better to be brought before the board first? Just see what we think about it before it goes to you?
For a meeting conduct policy?
For any of these resolutions that are being asked for. Or anything in the future that she thinks we need to do, without running it by the board.
Yeah, so it's my understanding, again, I have to pull the meeting minutes, it was quite a few meetings ago, that it was that if there was an item, I needed to reach out to Ms. Hayes to kind of get the blessing to continue on with that.
So you reached out to her and not her to you.
Actually, Nicole, it was during our conversation you and I were having, that we talked about this before all this even started.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, Daryl had mentioned it again, I thought you had mentioned something to this effect as well, Mr. Kelly, during the last meeting. And again, just from the interactions towards the end of the meeting, for me, it kind of elicited that we needed to have some sort of policy in place so that we could, you know, have a good, productive, cohesive, professional meeting. But no, I reached out to Ms. Hayes to request for this item to be placed on the next board meeting agenda.
Okay, let me get some more clarification here. I don't know, this may be from the president or the GM, but is it okay if I need to call you and talk to you about an item? Do I have that right to call you and discuss it? Because obviously, Mr. Pondo has, and I thought at one time we discussed, we had to get permission and it just speaks from the president or the GM.
Mr. Keller, are you asking me the question?
Yeah. Or whoever wants to answer it, I don't know. Probably be somebody here
Again,
in our
yeah,
facility.
again, my role is I represent the 5-person board. So
I
if
understand.
somebody on this board calls me, I'm not going to not answer. So if you call me, Mr. Kelly, I'm going to answer. If you have a question, my role as district council is not going to say, I'm sorry, Mr. Kelly, I can't answer your question or help you. We have to wait till the next board meeting. That's just, I mean, ethically, I can't operate like that. So,
Okay.
any of these 5 board members and or Ms. Hayes can call me and I will answer any call that is, received on my end. And if I receive an email as well, I'm going to respond accordingly.
Okay,
Just like when you email me, Mr. Kelly, I respond accordingly.
okay. Mr. President?
So again, it's
To my knowledge, I have never restricted anybody's access to anything.
I think it came up on,
It came up,
agenda.
nothing was ever done about it.
Okay, it came up and nothing.
No, but we didn't agree on it. I definitely was gonna agree on it.
Okay, so nobody agreed and it's done.
So it's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Nicole.
you're welcome.
Okay, we ready to move on?
Sure do.
We just voted. We have 2 more questions is the reason I'm asking. I want to be respectful. Okay, request to reschedule the July meeting. I know that Jesus said that he can attend the next one. My feet are really wet here. I don't know that I can, and I thought somebody else couldn't either.
I was at one of the last one, but I'm at this one.
The next board meeting is July
July
the
the 8th, yeah.
It's July the 8th. So it's July the 8th. There was a couple that said, I can't remember.
We're doing the wedding stuff for my daughter.
So July, so it's the 4th is Saturday and then the 8th.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, I'll probably have a chance. There's a chance that could be.
Okay,
and that was
so
what
there
was
are
going
still
on. So,
2 that are gonna be out of town.
and maybe 3.
And possibly 3, depending on Jesus's situation. Do we have a motion to move this to the 15th where it's a little more sure that we'll at least have 4 board members? Make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I said,
Motion made by John Hendrick, seconded. I did that. Seconded by Daryl Tondo. All in favor, say aye. 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 All opposed?
Nay,
Motion passes 3-1.
I'm not sure I can change my phone. So.
For the
But
15th.
we at least have 3 board members that can make the July 15th meeting.
I know I can. I believe Daryl can, and John can, and I think Jesus can too.
Okay.
All right?
One question, Mr. President, may I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
So Nicole, are you available on the 15th?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Nicole, thanks for all your help too.
You're welcome. Just to confirm, still at 2:30 at the normal meeting time?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. If we have no further business, I will make the motion that we adjourn. Seconded by Bill Pando, all in favor? Aye. 4-0 passes. Thank you, and we will see you July 15th.